Lewis Jones, Technical Director at Posturite, and as usual I have my lucky assistant Ellie Hale.
Plucky.
We've got a really exciting webinar today. We have officially released AssessRite version 3.
Hooray!
And she will be expertly guiding us through it today. How are you, Ellie?
I'm very well, thank you.
Super.
Very well on this rainy day. So guys, we've got our new AssessRite, which we have updated to kind of keep in line with how companies are working now. So we've got some completely new sections, which I'll talk you through. I guess some of you that are listening now are existing WorkRite clients, which can be upgraded to this version of AssessRite. And some of you might be new to WorkRite altogether. So as always, if you've got any questions, you can contact me and I can give you further information. So I'm going to take you through it. For existing WorkRite clients, this will be familiar, this bit, but here, look at that, a question straight away. So, why the need for workstation safety? What do you think the main objective of this course is? Is it to reduce risks associated with computer-based work, or to comply with display screen equipment regulations? What do you reckon, Chris?
Oh, well, it's almost both, I'd say. I mean, I guess the primary reason for buying it for some people will be to comply with the regulations, but on the other hand, I guess an added benefit is that we're reducing the risk associated.
That's the major benefit, I reckon.
Exactly.
We're not just about ticking boxes. That's correct. The main objective of this course is to provide you with information that will reduce your exposure to risks associated with working at a desktop, laptop computer, tablet, or smartphone. This is part of your employer's compliance with DSE regulations. So the responsibility to train and assess, a bit of information about the kind of legal bit. Under the 1992 Health and Safety Display Screen Equipment Regulations, as amended in 2002, your employer is responsible for workstation training and ensuring an assessment of your workstation is carried out. At the end of this training course, you will be asked to complete a self-assessment questionnaire. The material presented in this course will help you to complete it. So, the risks associated with the workstation. There are three main areas where you can be at risk from your workstation: musculoskeletal problems, eye-related problems, and fatigue and stress. So the musculoskeletal problems. Musculoskeletal means anything associated with your muscles, bones, or joints. For example, aches and pains in the back, neck and shoulders, arms and elbows, wrists and hands, and lower limbs. And I think anyone that works with a computer can feel aches and pains at some point. And eye problems. If used incorrectly, display screen equipment can cause various temporary eye-related ailments. The most common complaints are blurred vision, dry or sore eyes, and headaches. A poorly configured workstation and an uncomfortable work environment can lead to fatigue and stress. Stress manifests itself in various forms and can be caused by various pressures, including increased workload, tight deadlines, or the frustrations of difficult working relationships. All of these can result in physical tension, which in turn can lead to fatigue. A fatigued person is vulnerable to further stress and to ill health conditions associated with long-term exposure to stresses. So it's important that you take seriously the risks associated with your workstation and laptop. The main risks associated with your workstation are musculoskeletal problems, eye-related problems, fatigue and stress, and the course will offer practical guidance that will help you to avoid these risks to your health and well-being. So first off, let's go posture. What do you think is meant by good posture? Is it a posture that can be maintained throughout the working day without the need for breaks? Or is it any posture that makes you feel comfortable? Or is it a posture where the body is supported with the joints and the muscles in good position?
Well, it's certainly not number one, because I think one of the fundamentals for Posturite is that breaks and movement and change of role are key.
They are important.
Being comfortable does not necessarily mean that you are in a good posture. So I'm going to go for number 3 by process of elimination, Ellie.
Well done. I am one of those people, though, that used to curl up on my workstation chair. Don't do that anymore since working at Posturite.
I believe I've told you off before for that, Ellie, as I've seen you.
You absolutely have. So let's go with this. That's correct. A good posture reduces the strain on muscles and joints, but regular breaks are still required. On to the next bit. A good sitting posture is defined by the following 4 points. Upright, maintaining the spine's natural S-curve, shoulders relaxed, forearms horizontal, and feet supported, either on a footrest or on the floor. For the body to be in good alignment when standing, the natural curve of the spine should be maintained. The neck should be straight, the shoulders parallel with the hips. Try to alter your posture regularly whilst maintaining these principles. I wonder how many of you listening right now just straightened up a bit when I read that. So the following should be observed. Keep your shoulders back and relaxed. Keep your feet at hip distance apart. Try not to tilt your head forward, back, or to the side. If your workstation is set up incorrectly, your body will be out of alignment. Poor postural habits can be formed unconsciously and result in aches and pains. Think to those people that are in your office now, the ones that tend to slouch because they're comfier, or the ones that sit too far back in their chairs. Avoid the following habits. Here we go. Slumped or bent neck, head forward posture. Bending forward from the waist. Chris is doing that right now. Twisting the spine.
Just stretching, Ellie. That was a micro break.
And hunched shoulders. So keep moving. Movement is key to reducing risks. No posture, however correct, should be maintained for long periods of time. When sitting at your desk, take every opportunity to gently stretch and change your posture. You should take regular breaks from your desk throughout the day to stretch and relax different muscles. Short, frequent breaks are more beneficial than longer, infrequent ones. Here are suggestions for stretches that you can do at your desk or download for future reference. And this is a new part, which I think is so handy to have, and I'm definitely going to be doing some of them. So your staff will have access to this at all times, information about why stretching is important, and actual exercises that they can do. Just going to scroll down. Some hand exercises, stretches for the neck and shoulders, stretches for the back. I can send all you guys listening a link so you can have a look at this in more detail yourselves. Stretches for the leg and ankles, and so on. Just going to get me back to the other screen. Cheers, Chris. And body alignment. You should aim to achieve good posture in the workplace in order to avoid potential health problems. This can be done by adopting good body alignment. Body alignment refers to the best positioning of the body segments so that the loading on muscles and joints is reduced and the body is efficiently supported. Think about it. So you should now have a good idea of what posture represents good body alignment and which does not. Remember, you should try and adopt a posture where your body is efficiently supported, reducing the loading on muscles and joints. It's important to be aware of your posture in order to avoid injury and pain. Good posture is based on good body alignment and avoids putting unnecessary strain on your muscles. More relaxed postures are fine for short periods of time, and breaks away from your desk should be part of your work routine. Short, frequent breaks are more beneficial than longer, infrequent ones. The most important thing is to not remain static for too long. Remember to move. Workstation setup. So, what do you think most accurately reflects the importance of a properly set up workstation? Is it that a properly set up workstation will help you to maintain good body alignment and will reduce fatigue? Or is it that as long as you can see your monitor and reach your keyboard, it doesn't really matter how your workstation is set up?
Well, I don't think it's number two, Ellie, by the looks of it.
I do think, though, that some people might think that still.
Absolutely, yeah.
Unless you give them the training. So let's go for this. That's correct. Having a workstation that's properly configured to your personal requirements, and I think that's the key point, and the type of work that you do, will help prevent aches and pains. When combined with regular breaks, a good workstation setup will also help you to avoid fatigue. So why are chairs and desks important? The position and setup of your chair and desk affect the way you sit and work, and therefore how vulnerable you are to fatigue throughout the working day. It's important that you're comfortable while working and that your chair and desk are set up to suit you in the way that you work. We'll now guide you through the process of setting up your workstation correctly. So adjusting chair. And this is really key to this new version of AssessRite, that we've included some elements of height adjustable desking as well. This is something that can be removed if you don't have height adjustable desks. So we have a version without. So many of us sit like this, but let's see how we can improve things. Begin by sitting upright on your chair. Now select your setup. Adjust the height of your chair so that your feet are flat on the ground, but your knees are slightly below your hips. Now adjust the height of your desk. It will be at the correct height for keyboard work when your forearms are horizontal and at a level just above the keyboard. And if it's just a height adjustable chair, adjust the height of your seat so that your forearms are horizontal and at level just above the keyboard. If your feet are off the ground, use a footrest. If your feet are flat on the ground, but your knees are above the level of your hips, use blocks to raise the desk slightly. So your chair should be high enough that your knees are set slightly lower than the level of your hips, whether or not you have a footrest. Some chairs have a forward tilting mechanism to help with this. The seat should still support your weight and must not be angled so far that you feel like you might slip off, because that's not very comfy, is it? Sit upright with your back against the backrest. Before you adjust the backrest, first determine whether the seat presses against the back of your legs. If it does, you'll need to adjust your seat depth, if your chair has this function, so there's enough space to pass your hand between the seat and the back of your legs. If your seat depth can't be adjusted and it doesn't fit you, then you must report this to your manager, as you'll need an alternative chair that suits your size. You should then adjust the height of your backrest so that it fits comfortably into the small of your back. That's the inward curving part just above your hips. Armrests aren't essential, and they can be restrictive. If you've got them on your chair, make sure that they're set at a sensible height and aren't obstructed by the desk. The height of your armrest should leave enough space for your arms to float above them, whilst allowing you to rest them if needed. If your armrests are obstructed by the desk, consider having them removed. Your desk should provide enough space for you to do your work and change position when you need to. Maintaining a tidy work environment, a tidy work area ensures that you have space to move around and reposition the equipment as needed. Sometimes I will admit, I think I've got that desk. And under the desk, make sure that the space beneath your desk is sufficient and that you can sit without having to twist your legs or place them either side of any obstructions. Ensure that the area under your desk is free from cables so that do not entangle your feet or footrest. And think about it. So you should now have a good idea of which workstation setup encourages and supports good posture and which does not. Try and be mindful of how your workstation is adjusted, and remember to adopt a posture where your body is efficiently supported, reducing the loading on muscles or joints. You have correctly set up your workstation will have a good posture when your forearms are horizontal and at a level just above the keyboard, your feet are flat on the ground, your knees are set slightly lower than the level of your hips, and the backrest fits comfortably into the small of your back. Positioning your equipment. So which of the following statements do you think best reflects the correct setup of computer equipment and peripherals? So once set up correctly, your computer equipment and peripherals should be kept in that position throughout the day. Or, the setup of computer equipment and peripherals depends on the task in hand and should be changed appropriately throughout the day. Is it okay to spend time moving all your peripherals around?
Well, Ellie, I think my peripherals should be moved appropriately. I don't know about you.
So we're going to go for just appropriate movement of our peripherals. So. That's correct. The way you set up your computer equipment will depend on tasks and work patterns. Your setup should support your tasks and may change during the working day. It's all right to be a bit fluid with it. The way you use your computer and any related equipment is just as important as the way you use your chair and desk. You probably use this equipment for most of your working day. If you're not aware of the guidelines for a safer work setup, this can greatly affect your comfort, and this is what our new AssessRite is all about. Ideally, you should sit square onto your keyboard and screen. This will help to avoid postures that twist your back and/or shoulders. If you use a document holder, try and place it as close as possible to where you look whilst typing. So this will minimize the amount of neck twisting which you have to do to view it. If you're a touch typist who doesn't need to see the screen while typing, you may want to position the document holder directly in front of you and the screen to one side. Your screen should be positioned so that you can comfortably read the text or image displayed. As a general rule, your screen should not be closer than an arm's length and not significantly further either. This provides plenty of room for your keyboard and mouse. A typical setup uses a single monitor, but dual and multiple screen setups are sometimes more effective. If you're using a touch screen, then this will need to be positioned close enough to allow easy and accurate operation. So this is a new bit. We're talking about the different kind of setups different companies have. So single screen, positioned directly in front of you and approximately an arm's length from the body. But what about dual screen? These can be supported on an adjustable arm or on their own stand, and their positioning depends on the type of work you're doing. If both screens are to be used equally, they should be positioned either side of your central viewing line. If one is a preferred screen, this should be positioned a little more directly in front of you. A little turn of the head can be used from time to time to view the second screen. So multiple screens. These can be arranged on 2 or more levels, with main screens in primary position and others arranged around these according to the requirements and frequency of use. Secondary reference screens should be placed on the higher row, above the horizontal level of your eyes. And touchscreens. If you're using a full-size touchscreen, you'll need to position it so you can comfortably reach all corners of the monitor without having to lean forward or adopt awkward arm postures. The correct screen height. So your screen should be set up to minimize head movement between your keyboard and the computer screen. This height depends on your typing skill and the task you're working on. So if you're a non-touch typist, if you mainly look at the keyboard whilst typing, this might be slightly more comfortable with the screen set lower. Whatever its height, your monitor should be tilted so the screen remains face on to your line of sight. If you're a touch typist, it's recommended that you set the top of your screen level with your horizontal eye line. Screen risers can be used to bring the monitor up to the correct height. Eye strain. To reduce the risk of eye strain from looking at your screen, keep the following guidance in mind. Staring at your screen for long periods of time will strain your eyes. It's a common cause of headaches and should be avoided. Looking away from the screen regularly will help reduce eye strain. It sure does. And keep a clean screen. Your screen should be cleaned regularly to keep it clear and free of marks. You might be surprised how dirty your screen can get, so give it a wipe. Make adjustments to the screen settings to make sure it's not too bright or dim, and that the contrast and color settings are at a comfortable level for you to work with. And if you don't want to struggle to read what's on your screen, you must solve the problem by zooming in on your work. Use a lower screen resolution or increase the font size. If you don't know how to make these adjustments, contact your manager or IT department for assistance. You should now have a good idea about what posture represents good body alignment and which does not. Try to be mindful of how you sit. And the keyboard. Position the keyboard so that it sets squarely in front of you when typing, leaving enough room to rest your hands. Relax your shoulders and try to keep your forearm, wrist and hand in a straight line. If possible, your upper arm should also be vertical. This position reduces the risk of straining wrist joints. Place your mouse as close to the end of your keyboard as possible so you don't have to extend your arm to use it. If you're primarily going to use the mouse, you may want to move the keyboard out of the way to give yourself more room. This also applies to the other input devices, such as light pens or trackballs. As with your keyboard, keep your arm and wrist in a straight line while using your mouse. The software you work with every day can be the cause of stress and strain triggered by frustration or awkward on-screen procedures. You may require further training to overcome any problems you regularly encounter, or it could even be the software that you use is not suitable for the work that you do. You should now have a good idea about what arrangement supports good body alignment and what does not. Try to be mindful of how you arrange your equipment and try to adopt a posture where your body is efficiently supported, reducing the loading on muscles and joints. To avoid repetitive overstretching, ensure that the piece of equipment you use most often is the most easily accessible. Remember, it's fine to rearrange your desk setup throughout the day as your tasks change. Sit-stand working. So, as I mentioned before, more and more companies are moving towards a sit-stand working. And I found some information that we'd delivered as Posturite before. It was about researchers at the Texas A&M Health Science Center School of Public Health, which followed 167 employees at a call center to find out if sit-stand desks could be proven to boost productivity. So these employees typically made between 400 and 500 calls a month, and the company wanted them to average around 2 successful calls each hour. Those that had standing desks met that quota, while those who remained seated averaged 1.5 successful calls per hour. The study found that those who were using sit-stand desks were 45% more productive than those with standard desks. Productivity was measured by how many successful calls employees completed per hour per day. Just read that bit while I was doing my research, thought it was quite interesting. So here we go. In addition to that, studies claim that sitting for long periods of time can increase the risk of musculoskeletal disorders, type 2 diabetes, obesity, cardiovascular problems, and some cancers. I thought it was a bit scary. So what is sit-stand working? Office workers can increase their activity levels throughout the day by using sit-stand desks. Sit-stand desks can be adjusted electronically or manually from a seated to a standing position. This means office workers can alternate from sitting to standing throughout the day to increase their movement and comfort. And in fact, looking around at our office now, I can see it's probably half and half with standing and sitting.
Absolutely. Practice what we preach, Ellie.
We absolutely do. So sit-stand desks are designed to combat the risks involved with prolonged sitting. Using a sit-stand desk can increase your activity levels, stimulate blood flow around the body, boost concentration, and reduce the risks of MSDs. If possible, you should try and change your position a number of times throughout the day, spending at least 15 to 20 minutes standing at a time. Try not to spend too long sitting or standing. It's better to move up and down more frequently than, for example, spend a whole something that your company has yet that we can take out of the course. And agile working. Agile working is a modern way of working in which certain areas of a business are more flexible in order to adapt quickly to the changing business needs. And more companies that I go into, like I speak to companies every day, it's all about agile working and hot desking. Agile working means there is more flexibility around what time people work and where they work. Is it at home? Is it in the office? Or is it on the move? And the nature of their role. But this can all lead to the adoption of poor postures. Employers should provide adjustable chairs and monitor arms in hot desking environments where more than one person may be sharing a workspace. Employees should make sure they make appropriate adjustments each time they start work in case somebody else has been using the workspace before them. Do not just adopt the settings used by the person before you. This course will give your staff the training that they need to then use their learnings in a hot desking environment. I've got a quote here from our resident expert, Catherine Metters. So she did a whole piece on agile working that we published a couple of months ago as Posturite. And she said, how can we expect employees to be their most productive and innovative selves when we ask them to repeat the same routine every day? We all too often ask them to stay seated in the same chair, next to the same people, staring at the same computer every day. How is that conducive to a happy, efficient workforce? Humans are intelligent, sentient beings. Most of us need stimulation and change in our environments to do and feel our best. And a quote from the NHS about agile working is, a way of working in which an organisation empowers its people to work where, when and how they choose, with maximum flexibility and minimum constraints, to optimise their performance and deliver the best in class value and customer service. And as Catherine says, the idea behind that theory is that it's output, what is done, that matters when it comes to productivity, not input, as in how it's done. Work is an activity we do, not a place that we go. With this concept at the heart of our businesses, we could increase the activity of all of our staff and help limit stagnancy, unhappiness, presenteeism, and absenteeism. Another little bit I thought was quite interesting. And now we're going on to talk specifically about laptops. Another new section that we didn't have in our old AssessRite. Working on a laptop for prolonged periods carries no more risk of musculoskeletal injuries than working on a desktop. Is that true or false, Chris Jones?
Um, well, it depends if you have an appropriate lap pack,
Laptop.
keyboard, laptop, and mouse with you. I'm guessing that given the way this question is worded, a laptop is definitely worse for you from a musculoskeletal point of view than using a desktop.
So you reckon it's true? You reckon it's
Yes.
false?
Um,
No more risk.
no, I think that there is more risk.
That's correct. The close proximity of a keyboard, trackpad, and screen on a laptop makes it impossible to achieve good posture while working without the use of other peripherals. Wherever possible, you should use a properly set up desktop computer rather than a laptop. But if you have to use a laptop at your desk, well, like I do because I'm on the move all the time, use a docking station or a lap pack. This will allow you to use it as you would a full desktop computer with a separate keyboard and mouse. When using a portable computer or laptop out on the road, you should be aware of your posture. You'll need to take frequent breaks and, if possible, use a solid surface on which to rest the computer rather than on your legs. To avoid looking down, and therefore putting strain on your neck, consider using a portable external stand to position the screen at eye level. I've actually got that exact one. In addition, an external keyboard and mouse is recommended to position your arms and wrists correctly. And if you have been using a laptop, everyone still there? Great.
Ellie,
Sorry
you're
about
back.
that.
Sorry about that, everybody. Ellie lost her connection briefly.
Connection, Soza. Hopefully I didn't lose all you guys. So when transporting your laptop, avoid carrying unnecessary equipment and documents. Consider carrying your load in two equally weighted cases, so a backpack or a wheeled case to avoid straining your back. Avoid using laptop cases labelled with the laptop manufacturer's name to lower the risk of theft. I think that is so important. And back up any important information, carry it separately. Tablets and smartphones, another new section that we've got because, let's face it, everyone has one. But although tablets and smartphones give flexibility, they're not designed for prolonged use. Some of the risks associated with prolonged use of these devices include poor posture, injuries from small movements, especially of the fingers and thumbs, and eye strain due to the small screen size, muscle fatigue from holding the device. To minimize risk when working on tablets and smartphones, consider the following suggestions. So minimize the data entry tasks. And that will reduce the amount of time you spend inputting information into a mobile device. You should find a more suitable workstation for these tasks. And being conscious of how you use the keys when typing will reduce your risk of injuries and discomfort. Remember, thumbs and fingers should be alternated. Putting your device flat on the table will allow you to use both hands whilst typing. Again, keep the screen clean and free from grease, because a dirty screen will make it much harder to see information and increase the rate at which your eyes become fatigued. Cradling your phone between your ear and shoulder can fatigue the neck and shoulder muscles. Consider using the earphones and microphone provided with your device. That makes such a difference. And you can avoid holding your tablet or bending your neck by using a stand, for example, when you're watching a presentation or a film. And most importantly, remember to turn off your devices at the end of the day. They'll have less impact on your personal life, and this will help reduce stress. You need to learn to stop checking the emails at some point. So which of the following tasks do you think is suitable to carry out on a smartphone? Writing a report, do you reckon, Chris? Checking emails or watching a film?
Well, writing a report is probably not particularly good.
No.
Watching a film is certainly possible, but perhaps a bit small.
Might hurt your eyes.
Checking emails, I certainly do quite a lot on my smartphone. In fact, I think I do it more on my phone even when I'm at my desk than on my laptop now. I don't know why. I think it's just habit.
I do the same. I don't know why either. Smartphones are great for staying in contact whilst on the go. Writing reports or watching a film are not suitable tasks to carry out on a smartphone. The small screen size may lead to eye strain. Extensive typing in an awkward posture can lead to injury and musculoskeletal issues, so don't do it. Mobile devices offer flexibility to workers who operate in different locations. The associated risks can be minimized if mobile devices are used sensibly and in moderation, and not in place of a standard workplace setup. The likelihood of injury can be reduced by considered use of the equipment based on an awareness of the risks. Portable devices are a real asset when used in accordance with these considerations. An environment. Examine the following statements and decide which best describes the importance of an appropriate work environment to your health and well-being. The work environment can be an important factor when it comes to health and well-being. Or, as long as the environment's not hazardous, other factors don't really make a difference. Chris?
I'm so sorry, Ellie. I was replying to someone's question on the webinar,
Were
and
you,
I missed that. So it
were
was
you
very
doing that?
embarrassing.
Were you doing that via your proper desk
I,
setup, or were
I,
you doing it
I
on the
was,
phone?
I wasn't using my smartphone, but I'm
Well,
not
I'm
able
going
to
to answer for
multitask.
you. I reckon that the work environment can be an important factor when it comes to health and well-being.
Well,
Yeah, I
well,
was right.
well answered, Ellie.
Thank
I
you.
can't multitask,
Thank you.
unfortunately.
I've read this course a few times. So in this section, we're going to explore some of the factors that determine the suitability of your work environment. And again, this is going in accordance with the HSE. There are several environmental factors that can affect your comfort while working. Space, lighting, temperature, humidity, noise. This section will teach you all about these factors in greater detail. Space, so the amount of space available. Make sure you have enough space to easily access your workstation, and your posture shouldn't be constrained by anything around you, like furniture or your colleagues. The level of lighting, both natural and artificial, should be considered carefully. Your workstation should be set up to avoid glare and reflections from light sources, including windows. Backlight, strong source of light behind you could reflect onto your computer screen, making it difficult. Bright light source directly in front of you will cause glare and strain your eyes. Side light. A window to your side is likely to be the best option, although glare could still be possible. If you've got glare or reflection, try to shield the source of the problem. It may be possible to tilt or swivel your screen to avoid the light. If it can't be done, you might need to find an anti-reflection filter as the most effective way to overcome your difficulties. And you should have sufficient artificial light in your office to prevent you from straining your eyes and seeing your work clearly. Be cautious of how changes you make to lighting might affect your work colleagues, so be considerate there. Temperature is the most difficult environmental factor to control to the satisfaction of all workers. I have never worked in an office where we managed to get it right. Someone's wearing a jumper, someone's sweating in the corner. That's just the way it is. But it's because different people feel comfortable at different temperatures. If the temperature at your workstation affects your ability to work comfortably, report it to your manager. Here at Posturite, we have fleeces that we give people, don't we?
Absolutely.
So humidity. You are unlikely to feel a lack of humidity in your work area directly, but you might recognize it by symptoms. So if your skin's feeling too dry, you've got dry or sore eyes, or static shocks when you touch door handles. If you experience any of these symptoms, inform your supervisor or line manager. Noise, a tricky one. It's not usually considered a health risk, but can be detrimental to your work and on your stress level. Possible stressful noises in the workplace could be music from the radio. You know, if someone's picked a station that you can't stand. Work colleagues talking to each other on the telephone can be a distraction, or noise from office machinery like the photocopier. Noise from an open window, for example, roadworks or traffic. So look around your own environment. Can you spot any factors that could affect your work in a detrimental way? Remember, each environment presents different issues, and the extent that it might affect you is likely to be determined by the type of work you're undertaking. Your environment and any problems that come with it will be unique to you, and it's important to make you aware of it. Always report any problems to your supervisor. It could be that you're voicing a concern shared by everyone in your work environment. And then to summarize. The display screen equipment regulations specify that you as a computer user have entitlements. This course partly covers these in regards to health and safety training. So, you must have sufficient training on the equipment and software that you use. Eyesights at no cost to you. If the results of the test find that you need glasses, these should be provided. Provision of suitable equipment to carry out your work safely, and appropriate work breaks. Remember, poor work practices can lead to discomfort, stress, and serious injury. Be aware of how you sit and how your desk is set up, as this can affect your work and health. Your equipment should serve the way you work and make your job easier. The environment should not be distracting. A good workstation setup is only part of the solution. Consider carefully your management of your workload. If you have any problems relating to the issues detailed in this course, make sure you know who to contact and report any questions. I had some questions that we had during the course of this webinar, but we've run out of time now. I will get back to everyone that's had some questions via email. But as always, we would really appreciate your feedback on our new course. We're very excited about it and very proud of what we produced. But do let us know what you think, and I'll be in touch with some further information about offers that we've got on upgrading to this course.
Ellie, thank you very much. That was fantastic. Well done and very interesting. Sorry about my lack of attention when you asked me that question, but hopefully,
And a technical mishap.
and a slight technical mishap, but thank you very much.
Thanks for tuning in.